Hi, everyone, and welcome to another live webinar. Thank you for joining me, or if you're watching this on YouTube, the recording of this webinar, welcome. I have some exciting topics to talk to you about today. The name of this one is The Future is Exciting, and we're going to be talking all about manifesting your desires. And I chose to specifically go live on this date because the year is 2022, as we know. It is the second month of the year, and it is the 22nd day of February. So that's 6 twos. And this is actually a portal that's very special. It's the only time in our lifetime that we will see all of those 6 numbers in a row. So pretty crazy, hey? So I'm here to share my energy, share what I know. I absolutely love delivering this information in this format. This is where I really tend to thrive. Having that educational background. For those that don't know me, I am Holly Hayes. I'm a previous international esthetician, waxing trainer. I was fortunate enough to travel around the globe for the last 10 years, teaching everything that I knew in waxing and aesthetics, and I had huge success with that. One of the things I then realized when I had time to unpack my thoughts and think about what was next in my life is that what got me there was my mindset. What got me there was my belief in myself. What got me there was the law of attraction, the law of vibration, and all sorts of things that I'm going to talk to you about today. So when we talk about manifestation, there's a lot to uncover. This is very much a buzzword, very on trend. Lots of people in this space that, feel like they have the foolproof plan and teaching a lot in this space. And I just like to share how I do it. And that's what we're here to learn today. And some ways that you can also work with me in this space. So I'm happy to share all of that today. I'm going to keep this session fairly brief. My sessions normally go for about an hour live with questions. So let's see how we do today. I'm trying to keep it straight to the point because I really respect everybody's time. And I know that we live super busy lives. So let's get into it. One of the things that you'll notice when you attend anything with me is that I like to set an intention. So I do have some of my wonderful crystals surrounding me here, particularly this beautiful big clear quartz that I was gifted recently. And that is sitting with me today to give me positive energy to translate that energy through to you. So here's the intention for this webinar. May you be abundant in everything that you do. When we talk about abundance, we quite often think about financial abundance, but I want to share with you today how you can start living more abundantly by really just taking the most simplest example, getting outside in nature, even if it's just for 5 minutes and that's all you've got, fine. I want you to get out in nature and I want you to look at these little examples and these seeds that I'm going to plant with you today. And tell me how you felt more abundant just by doing this little exercise. So I'll get to that shortly, okay? So here we go. I'm so excited to talk about this topic. I talk about this topic all the time with my clients, my friends. It's part of who I am. So rule number 1, what you focus on expands. Now, how does that land with you? Type it into the chat if that's resonating with you and what that means. So when we think about that, when we want to focus on something that we're trying to magnetize into our life, we can do that quite well and quite quickly when we follow some certain steps, but also realizing everything is a manifestation, right? So if we also focus on the fact, and I saw an example of this week, and this one was reminding me just how far I've come, because this is something that I grew up listening to in my household. I need to check the mail, probably just more bills, right? Anyone resonate with that one? Is that something that you heard in your household? Is that something that you think every time you go and check your letterbox? Oh, not more bills, right? And I heard this week, I better check the mailbox because there's probably just more bills. And I was like, what you focus on expands. Let's not manifest bills in the mailbox. Let's manifest abundance, right? So let's cover off these topics here. So the law of attraction, the famous one made very famous by The Secret. It was a book and a movie. It's, what we think creates. So if it starts with a thought and then we attract that into our life, right? Some people literally interpret that as, okay, well, I want to be financially abundant, or I want to be in love, or I want to be promoted at my work. And now I'll just sit here on the couch and that will come to me, right? Law of attraction is a big part of manifestation process. And what we think about does create our desired outcome, but there's a lot more that goes into it than that. It is the most famous law of all the laws of the universe, but it's not just the only one that's going to get you across the line, right? So more to come on that. The biggest one that I've been trying to reframe for myself lately, I can't versus I can. So if you keep telling yourself, I can't, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not successful enough, I'm not rich enough, I'm whatever it is, whatever the thing is, you're saying, I can't do that, because what's going to expand? More of I can't. When you start saying, I can do this, I can manifest, I can change my, my morning routine, I can run that extra 5 kilometers or whatever it is. You've just got to start with the I can and then let it flow on from there, right? Simple things, but quite often we forget the simple things, right? The law of vibration. Now, this is one that I do talk a lot about in my trainings and my material, because you will only ever attract what you are a vibrational match for. So everything in this world is energy. And I love energy because I also use Reiki energy healing as a big part of my teaching. Because if you're energetically off balance, then energetically you will draw in more things that are off balance for you. Okay, so this will manifest into your reality, because the law of attraction is great. And we can think about, I want to, attract the most perfect client for me. Let's say I want to attract the most perfect client for me. This is what they look like, talk like, think like. This is how they operate. This is how they'll show up in my business, right? But if your energy is low, and you energetically don't think that you deserve ideal clients, you think that, oh, really the belief is every time I do get a client, it starts off great, but then they become a whinger, or they don't pay their bills, or they drain me. If your energy comes from that place, then that's the law of vibration, right? So you will energetically attract in any area of your life, not just clients, relationships, friendships, whatever it may be. You will attract the vibrational match. Okay. So this is why I do a lot of energy healing, getting people into alignment before we even talk about manifesting the outcome, right? Consumption. I talked about this in my last webinar, so you can also just check that out on my YouTube channel. We did talk about this. What you consume consumes you ultimately. So when I talk about consumption, if you eat fatty foods, fast food every single day, it's going to keep you down in a very, very low state of vibration, right? So consumption, we're talking about physical consumption. If I drink really good water, then that is going to raise my energy, because I'm going to be hydrated. I'm going to have more energy. I'm not going to feel as tired and fatigued. So I'm going to be raising my state, right? Obviously, if I just sat here and drank coffee all morning, I'd be very jittery. I wouldn't be probably as clear of mind. And don't worry, I've only had one coffee today, so you're getting the best version of me. But it's all about consumption. To touch on that a little bit more, social media, we are consuming whatever we're looking at on our screens, we are consuming, right? If you constantly watch Netflix, you're consuming whatever that programming is, right? So thinking about, what do I consciously, I'm talking about conscious things today, what do I consciously consume, and how can I make small changes? So maybe instead of watching that trashy Netflix show, whatever it is, I'm going to turn on a podcast instead. And it's not to say that you have to cut out everything. It's just to say everything in moderation. Also, I sometimes like to eat pizza, right? I'm not going to eat that 7 days a week and let the pizza consume me and I start to look like the size of a pizza, right? But if I want to have pizza once a week, that's totally fine. I'm not letting it consume my life, right? Everything in moderation and balance, whether it's social media, whether it's people that we spend time with, conversations that we have with people, that can consume us as well. If we're constantly around low vibrational people, that always complain and talk about negative things, it will consume you. So there's a point where you need to make a change. Okay. Gratitude blaster. So if you're feeling in a low state of vibration or a low state of energy, or you feel like you have been consumed by 3-hour meeting that just won't end, and I'm feeling like I just want the ground to open up and swallow me because I'm being consumed by everyone complaining in this meeting, or whatever it is, gratitude blaster is the best way to just really change your energy, change your state, and be ready to move into the next step. What I mean by gratitude blaster, I practiced this morning. I wake up, I look outside my window and I see everything I can see. I say, I'm grateful for you. So I'm grateful for the sky, the clouds. I saw the moon this morning. So I was grateful for the moon. And then at the same time as I could see the moon, the sun was actually coming over the other side of my building. So I was like, I'm grateful for the moon and the sun. I'm grateful for the sea. I'm grateful for the reflection on the sea. Grateful for the grass. I'm grateful for the trees. I'm grateful for the leaves. I'm grateful for my balcony that gives me fresh air. I can open my door. I get sunshine on my area. I'm grateful for my bed. I had a great sleep last night. I'm grateful for the way the sheets feel. I felt like I was lying in really soft sheets and it gave me a better sleep. I'm grateful for that. And then you start to say, I'm grateful for my $10,000 that came in this month. I'm grateful for my ideal relationship. I'm grateful for my clients that constantly show up for me and they pay their bills on time, or whatever it may be. The last few things I said there is future gratitude. So I'm blasting the sky, the clouds, the moon, the sun, the door that I can open for fresh air, my sheets, my bed. That's all basic stuff that I always have access to, but I'm grateful for it. And then I move on to manifesting and being grateful for the things that haven't come into my life yet. So do you see how that works? Because once you get into that energy and you're expressing future gratitude, you will become a magnet for your desires and you will draw them in much quicker. Not to mention, it will snap you out of a shitty mood. Okay, so try that. Gratitude blaster. It's a really, really good exercise. You can even just go for a quick 15-minute walk and do a gratitude blaster and get back to me on how you feel after that, especially if you're having a shitty day. And we all have shitty days. Nothing is perfect. I just explained the next one here, shifting gears. That's how you do it. So change your state. If you've been sitting at your desk all day, go for a walk, eat your lunch outside. Don't keep sitting in that one spot. Go for that walk, go for that jog. If you don't have the full amount of time, just do 20 minutes yoga today. Maybe you don't have the full hour or the 90 minutes to commit to the yoga class. Maybe just do 20 minutes, some light stretching, whatever it is, shift gears. Have some water, as we mentioned. Don't lean for the coffee. Don't have the pizza tonight. Cook some greens instead, you know? It's just the little things. It's the little things. And when we talk about manifestation, I can tell you now, it is the little things that you do that will make the biggest change. So, as promised in this session, we want to get straight down to business. These words are a little bit triggering for me. They might be triggering for you too. Are you feeling stuck, blocked, unaligned? Okay. We never like to lead with a negative, but the reality is if we're not living the life that we desire or that manifestation is not coming in, there's probably something that's a little bit off center, if we want to call it that for a better word that's not so negative, okay? Off center. So the quickest one to look at here is that your mood and your mindset are directly linked to your manifestations. And that's one of my core beliefs. And that's my philosophy in my business and my teaching, is that my slogan is improving your mood, your mindset, and your manifestations. Without the first two, it's very hard to get the final three. Because if you're in a shitty mood and a low state and your mindset is holding you back, it's limited. So you've created this glass ceiling over it, thinking that's possible for other people, but that's not possible for me. Okay. We're guilty of that in the world that we live in and looking on social media, seeing what other people do and thinking, wow, they've created such an abundant life, or they have everything that I want. And then thinking, oh, but you know, though they're so successful or they're so smart or they're so driven or they're so knowledgeable or whatever it is, and then limiting ourselves and saying they can do it, but I can't. All right. That's an example of a limiting belief. So once we shift that and we start with our mood, so that comes back to nourishment, comes back to moving your body. That doesn't mean you have to be a gym junkie. Not at all. It just means that you need to move your body 20 to 30 minutes a day, getting out for a walk, light jogging, yoga, stretching, Pilates, weight training, whatever it is, cycling, whatever it is. Just do more of it, right? Moving your body. That will increase your mood. This is science. We all know this, right? That will ultimately raise your energy, which changes your state, which means you're in a much better position to start working on the mindset. We reset this, we can rewire the whole of our reality. Everything happens from the inside out, and our outer world is a direct reflection of our inner world and vice versa. So again, this is where unalignment, misalignment, off center, a blockage, feeling stuck, this is where it really manifests from. It's within, right? So let's start at the beginning and work our way backwards, hey? Change your state and you'll change your story. This is from the great Tony Robbins, and I've been learning a lot from him this year, and I'm actually attending his Unleash the Power Within at the end of March, which is going to be my first one. I'm super excited, but he just talks about this all the time. If you change your state, you'll change your story. So again, how do you approach the situation? Are you coming at it from high energy, low energy? You know, is it just that you need to like put your favorite song on and dance for 3 minutes before you go into a meeting? Imagine that energy that you go into the meeting if you dance to your favorite song for 3 minutes before you jump on, versus rolling out of bed, having a coffee, feeling low, thinking about what happened the night before, shitty at your spouse or whatever it is, okay? Everything is energy and people feed off that. People pick up on that. You will bring in what energy you put out, right? Because the story ultimately determines your outcome, which is what we're talking about, manifesting the life that you want, because the future is exciting. All we have right now is this present moment. The past, that's gone. What we choose to do presently right now, what energy I choose to be in right now and you choose to be in right now, is how I'm setting up my future, because all we have is this very moment. So that nature example I wanted to share with you, and I strategically chose this photo of me looking up at the cherry blossoms from last spring, and I cannot wait to see them again this spring. It's my favorite time of year here in Vancouver, which again is a manifestation. I don't live here by any accident. I declared to the universe I wanted it to be Vancouver, and I took the inspired action to make that happen 3 years ago, and here I am. So I get to look at these beautiful cherry blossoms every spring. And my exercise for you is you're looking for the example of the fact that the universe is abundant, okay? It is infinitely abundant. When you try and look at a tree or a cherry blossom, whatever it is, whichever part of nature you're looking at, imagine me staring at this tree, this cherry blossom, and trying to count all the cherry blossom petals on the tree. Could I even attempt to do that? No. That's overwhelming just to think about it, right? Look how many cherry blossoms there are on that tree. I could not physically count them all. That's how abundant nature is. So when we think about creating a certain dollar amount, we don't have to limit that saying, oh, there's not enough to go around. We have to get out of that scarcity mindset, right? When we get out of scarcity and we realize, looking at nature, I cannot possibly count all the leaves on the trees when I look out my window. I can't count all the cherry blossoms on the tree because it's infinitely abundant. My bank account can also be infinitely abundant if that's what I want it to be. It's not as easy as just saying it and it happens, right? Thinking, saying happens. That's the law of attraction, right? It's not quite that easy, but do you get my drift? When you start to look at nature for examples of this, you realize there is abundance. It's like, another example is like, if you wanted to say, okay, I want to attract better relationships into my life. And maybe you say, look, I'm super lonely right now. I only have one friend in the whole entire world. That's okay. Think about that one friend. Is there a certain level of love that happens between you and that friend, and then you tap out and you say to your friend, hey, I've run out of love for today. My tank is empty. I can't give you any more love. No. The answer is no. That love between you and that one friend in the whole entire world, if that's all you've got, that never runs out. It's infinitely flowing back and forth between you. So what's to say that you can't have the desired income that you want, that you can't have the desired relationships in all areas of your life that you want? What's to say that you can't have abundant, like-minded clients that work with you in your business, right? It is infinite, and it is abundance is around us everywhere. So when you start to reframe and you take the simple things in life like nature as your prime example, this is where that mindset shift starts to happen, right? So how I also help with blockages, misalignment, whatever it might be, is I use Reiki and human design. So Reiki is a form of energy healing, an ancient form. It comes from Japan. I absolutely love Reiki. I do distance Reiki. I do in-person Reiki. I do all the types of Reiki. And I use this to start to pick up on your energy and see where any blockages or any stuck points are or any unaligned points are. And we start to move that energy on, because whatever energy is not serving you, we just move it. We just move it on. Thank you. It's like the Marie Kondo, like, thank you. You brought me joy, and I'm now moving you on, right? So that's what I do with the Reiki. With the human design, a little bit different. This is like your unique blueprint. So it's a mixture of astrology, Kabbalah, tree of life, other forms of spirituality, all combined into one neat package that gives me, when I run your chart, your unique blueprint, so I can tell you how to start showing up in your personal life, in your professional life, whatever we're trying to improve on, probably a mixture of things, right? And if you start living by your unique design, again, the abundance is out there and it's infinite. So it all comes back to the same principles. I hope that's making sense. Let me know in the chat if there is any clarifications needed on that one. Okay, so I've made this into 6 easy phases to get you understanding the basics of actually getting into this alignment, removing any of those blockages, improving the mood and mindset to ultimately manifest your desire, whatever that desire is. Okay, that's up to you. And it doesn't just have to be one desire, but to keep it simple for today, let's just think of one thing that we're trying to improve in our life right now, or bring into our life that maybe we haven't yet had, or we haven't had for a long time, whatever that may be. Okay. The first thing we need to start with is deconditioning and unlearning. We live in a society where we are conditioned from a very, very young age to behave in a certain way, to toe the line in a certain way. Our beliefs are passed down from our direct caregivers. If that wasn't enough to handle, we also have generational beliefs that are passed down to us subconsciously. There's a lot to unpack here, but let's start at the beginning. So where can we quickly and most effectively start to decondition our mind and unlearn patterns, beliefs that are not serving us? So on my journey, this is what I discovered. You're in a child. This is where it all begins, right? We are most susceptible to conditioning from 0 to 7 years of age. Okay, we are like a sponge. We take in everything from our environment around us, and many of us disconnect from our inner child in adulthood, right? We think we have to grow up now. We have all these responsibilities, bills to pay. We can't be playful anymore. We can't enjoy the simple things in life anymore, and we lose touch with our inner child. So a few simple steps here. Get your pen and paper out. With the inner child, the first thing you want to do is acknowledge the inner child that lives inside of you. Okay, he or she is still there with you on this journey, and you can acknowledge them and bring them along for the journey. The most effective way I found to acknowledge my inner child was to journal with her. So I journal to her and I tell her, you know, I'm taking her along for the journey and thank you for everything that she's brought to my life. And I honor her by saying I'm going to be more playful and I'm going to enjoy the simple things in life. And that's how I reconnected with my inner child, was through journaling. Okay. The other thing I discovered recently on my inner child journey was that the inner child is directly linked to the root chakra. So once we do start to perhaps work together, if that's what we're going to do, or you're going to do your independent research on this, if there is some inner child healing that needs to happen, energetically, we can start to speed up that process by really focusing on your root chakra, your base chakra. It's the number one chakra, right? It's the first chakra that we come in to this life on earth with. It's the number one. So we start there. We work on your base chakra. We start healing that. We start getting you more grounded, connected to the earth, connected to your inner self and your inner child. So I love doing this type of work through Reiki. And that's a really specific method of mine, which is getting you in touch with that inner child and that inner child healing. The journaling I already mentioned. And the final thing, the easiest way to start acknowledging and healing your inner child is to play. What did you like to do as a kid? What was your thing? For me, it's going on the swings and it's riding my bike. And I must admit, every time I walk down to Second Beach here in Vancouver now, if it's a sunny day, I stop and I get on the swing for 5 to 10 minutes and I just acknowledge my inner child and I have joy in that moment. And I listen to my favorite song with my headphones on at the same time. And I can tell you right now, I walk away from that swing feeling like the best version of myself, ready to take on the rest of my day. So some simple yet effective tools to really start this deconditioning and unlearning process, right? Limiting beliefs. I already did speak about these. So it's removing that. You're putting the limiting beliefs on yourself before you even try, right? Because you're saying, I can't do this because I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not wealthy enough, I'm not smart enough, whatever it is, right? That's a limiting belief. A lot of my work using the Reiki, the human design, the coaching, we go into blasting these. And I have a really effective method of what you can do. It involves a journaling exercise, and then you literally turn on your favorite song and you just smash it out for 3 minutes, moving the energy and blasting that belief away. Super fun exercise. Can be a little bit deep at times, depending on how limiting that belief is, but anything that you're telling yourself that puts a limit on it, it's not serving you. So my point is, get rid of it. Particularly if you are looking at other people on social media and you're finding that any feelings of envy and jealousy come up, because you've got to remember what's possible for one is possible for all. And that's back to abundance, the law of abundance, right? What's possible for one is possible for all. And there's always enough to go around. So getting rid of any of these beliefs, they're just some examples on how it might manifest in your life. Okay. So let's work through those and decondition and unlearn and let go of those beliefs. The generational ones. So that's things that show up as like, oh, there are no millionaires in my family. So just accepting that, like, we've always been a family of like hard workers. No one's ever really hit the big time. I haven't seen examples of that in my direct circles. So of course that's not going to happen for me, right? Another one, well, of course, I'm just like this because my parents are like this. My dad did this. My mom did this. Of course, this is just part of me. This is who I am. It's in my family. I can't change it. Yes, you can. Everything that we have taken on from childhood, that we have taken on as a limiting belief, that we have passed down and taken on through the generations, can stop with us right now when we consciously decide to make those changes, right? So some of this is a little bit advanced, but again, this is just a bit of a taste tester, right? On what is possible when you start to do the work. Because these changes don't just happen overnight. There is ways that you can definitely start thinking more abundantly and letting go of the limiting beliefs. But like anything in life, it's consistency, it's repetition, and it's doing the work. Okay. If we want to build the body of our dreams, we don't just sit on the couch and hope that that body manifests, right? We have to go to the gym. We have to be consistent. We have to be repetitive. And above all else, we have to do the work. And sometimes a lot of sweat and tears goes into that journey, right? But what's the outcome? The dream body, right? So phase 2, let's talk about forgiveness and letting go. I did talk about this in my last webinar as well. So just to recap, this metaphor was very, very powerful when I first learned what it meant. So don't drink the poison that is intended for somebody else. So if you are holding on to resentment and really feeling negatively about the person who hurt you, whether intentional or not, by you not forgiving them and holding on to that resentment, you are only hurting yourself. You are quite literally drinking the poison and hoping that something bad might happen to the other person. Like, oh, they'll get what's coming to them. They don't deserve this. I hate them so much. They deserve to be miserable for the rest of their life. A lot of hate in the world right now, a lot of hate. The best thing you can do is send that person love. Whether you run into the supermarket and you just say to them, hi, have a nice day. They might put their nose up in the air and snub you, but guess what? That's you showing that you don't have resentment. And honestly, you don't care anymore because you're in a place where you can be civil and you've let go. They're still holding on to the resentment from there, and that's their problem. But you can forgive them. That doesn't mean you have to walk up to them in the supermarket and say, hi, I forgive you. You forgive them for you. You don't need to be in contact with that person to forgive them. You can write out a letter to anyone that you want to forgive. You can use the Ho'oponopono, which I talked about in my last webinar as well, which is quite literally these words. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. That's a forgiveness prayer. It's an ancient Hawaiian forgiveness prayer. How powerful is that? You can say those words to yourself in the mirror to forgive yourself as well. So however you want to forgive, whoever you need to forgive, okay? Write the letter out, put the note on your phone, say the Ho'oponopono prayer, and forgive them. Then you let go. Because holding on, and I love this image here, like, see, she has a really nice hand because, quietly nice shaped nails, no, visible injuries to her hands yet. But imagine if she just held on to that rope for dear life forever. What's going to happen to her hand? She's going to be full of calluses and blisters. And what's holding on gaining for her? What's she gaining by holding on? If she could just forgive and let go, how powerful is that, right? Because it's only harming you. I can tell you right now, the other person probably doesn't give a shit and probably has moved on, if I'm being quite honest with you, right? So by you holding on to that pain and trauma, you are not assisting yourself. You're taking the poison that was intended for them, right? So it really, really, really is a very important step of any of this type of work with manifestation is letting go of your attachment to the desired outcome as well, right? Because once you've let go, guess what? Now she has room in her hand to hold on to what she really wants, right? She's got room now to hold on to what she really wants. She's not holding on to something for fear of what might happen if she just lets go. Because guess what? There's something that's down there that's going to catch her always, right? So making space. You need to clear the data in order to receive the fresh downloads, right? Your computer slows right down. You've downloaded all the files onto your computer. It can't possibly hold anything more. It tells you you're almost out of storage. Please make some space. So we do that. With our mind and our heart, the more that we hold on to that's not serving us and we don't clear the data to receive fresh downloads, then how can we manifest that dream client or that dream person or that extra amount of income or that better business opportunity or that promotion? How can we manifest that into reality if there's no room for it to enter our lives? It's like when you're trying to climb up a mountain and you take bricks in your backpack, you're not going to get there very fast, are you? But suddenly if you realize, oh, I don't need these bricks, they aren't going to help me get to the top. Take the bricks out of the backpack, unpack the bricks, you're going to get to the top of that mountain a lot quicker, right? So it's really getting clear on like what beliefs, what bitterness, resentment, what relationships, what unhealed parts of myself are not serving me to get to the next stage. And it's just making space. It's letting go. It's forgiving. It's moving on. It's just decluttering. It's physically decluttering your space, right? I can't bring in a bigger couch and put it next to my medium-sized couch. I need to sell the medium-sized couch, make room to then bring in the double-sized couch into my home, right? I can't keep stuffing clothes in my cupboards and just keeping the doors shut, thinking that I can still keep buying 5 new items a week. I have to make space. If I want to put 5 new items in my closet and my closet is already jam-packed, I have to decide which 5 come out of the closet and I sell them, or I donate them, or I let go of them. However, I do that metaphorically, right? So you can't just keep jamming stuff in there without doing a data clear, right? You've got to do the clearing to make space. And then once you've set yourself up for success, so you physically cleared your space and your environment, and you've mentally compact and gotten rid of all those beliefs and thought patterns that no longer serve you, then you're getting ready to plant the seeds. But also part of the letting go process is when you plant the seeds, you don't sit out there. Like I have a planter box on my balcony right now, and unfortunately what I planted is not growing. But if I sat out there, and my eyes are darting because I'm looking at it right now, if I sat out there and just watched it grow, it's not going to help it grow any faster, is it? I just planted the seeds, I water it every now and again, and I'm just accepting that it may or may not grow. Okay, so again, simple stuff. Sometimes we forget, sometimes we need reminders. So I'm hoping that this is resonating with you. Pop any comments into the chat if you have any questions there, okay? So another powerful one, I already said this, but the past is based on memories. All we have is the present moment, and the future is in our imagination. And guess what? Our subconscious doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. So you can get lost in this imagination, and that will speed up your manifestation process, but don't skip these phases, right? You need to have done the other things first in order for it to actually show up in your reality. So phase 4 is getting specific. I love this part because this is when we get to get creative. We can start to write the story of our life. We can start to say, this is what my ideal client looks like. This is how she thinks. This is how many times a week she wants to see me. This is what she's willing to pay in order to work with me. Getting really, really specific on it, right? So my question to you is, what do you truly want? The universe can't deliver if you're not specific and you don't tell it. I want a person who looks like this, dresses like this, has a career like this, lives in this area, is available, is, whatever it is. The more specific you can be, the better, right? Because how on earth are you going to get to the destination if you don't input the correct address? I can't just input, take me to Vancouver to get to my apartment, can I? I need to be very specific with my building number, also my apartment number, my postal code. Otherwise, the GPS could just take me anywhere. And we've all had that happen to us before. So that's a great example, right? You need the specific destination. The manifestation needs to know what exactly you want. You can't just walk into a burger place that specializes in burgers and say, I'd like a burger. Because if this is a burger place, they probably have 5 to 10 burgers on their menu, right? So I don't know, I might get the chicken burger, but maybe I wanted the veggie burger without tomato because I'm allergic, whatever it might be. I have to be specific, right? Extra ketchup, no pickles. The more specific you are, the more you're going to get that tasty burger that you want, right? So here's my little example. This is me in Disneyland in 2019. I've been to both Disney World and Disneyland, and I've been very blessed to not actually have to pay for my flights or accommodations to go to either of these places because they were both work trips. But Disneyland came around to me in the most unexpected way. And this is where the magic happens, right? So Disneyland, at the time, I was working in my job that involved me spending a lot of time in Vegas. I was in Vegas. I just met a bunch of new people. I got a message from a co-worker that said, hey, we both have a day off tomorrow. I know this is super last minute, but I'm going to drive from Vegas to Disneyland. Do you want to come? And I cleared my whole next day. I got in the car with her. We drove. It was a very, very long drive, but it was fun because we were new co-workers. We were getting to know each other. Got to spend the whole entire day at Disneyland and then drive back to Vegas. It came around in the most unexpected way at the most unexpected time. And that's me at Disneyland having the best time of my life because I really had no idea that I was going to be going there on that trip. And it just popped into my realm and I took the inspired action. I said, I'm going with her. And I got a free trip there. Basically, I just had to pay for my entry, which is very expensive, but it's okay. Abundance comes back to me. All right. And I only really wanted to go the one time. Who knows if I'll ever get there again, but I've been now and I had the best time. And I was specific in my list of like, I wanted to go to Disney World and Disneyland. I put it out to the universe. I didn't really think anything more about it. They both just happened in a matter of years, right? So phase 5, follow the inspired action. As I just touched on in my Disneyland example, I got invited, I responded, and I took the action to go that day, right? Super short notice. Who cares? It was an adventure. I still got the manifestation that I desired, okay? So remembering when these things like Disneyland show up in your realm, the how is not your job, okay? If we knew the how, if I knew how I was going to get to Disneyland, then it wouldn't be as exciting as the way it happened for me. It happened, I literally had to make the decision within a matter of hours. I had to get up super early the next day. I had to clear what I had on that day in order to make it happen. But that was so much more exciting the way that it just popped up overnight like that, right? Because you are co-creating with the universe. Whatever it is you are creating, you're planting the seed and watering it, but then you're allowing the universe to take over. And as it starts to spurt, then you'll know the inspired action that you need to take. So maybe you need to water it some more. Maybe you need to move it into a sunnier position. Maybe you need to give it a trim, whatever it may be, right? You are co-creating with the universe. So the universe will give you an intuitive hit. You follow that step, see what happens. Next step comes in, see what happens, take the step, right? You need to follow your gut when you're doing that, right? You need to be in tune. That's when we talk about energy, misalignment, removing blockages. The more in tune you are with your body and your intuition, it will tell you. Your gut will start screaming at you, do this thing. It doesn't make any logical sense, but do it. Leap off the ledge, Holly. Go for it. Just do it. It doesn't make sense, not yet, but it will. And that is where the manifestation becomes quite magical. Because magic versus logic, they don't align, okay? Some of the inspired action you'll be asked to take will make no logical sense, right? It might show up as like, you know, I had a plan today to do this webinar, and then maybe suddenly I got an offer to record a podcast. I don't know, something, maybe this will come into my realm now that just came to my mind. Maybe I got an offer to be a guest on somebody's podcast and it doesn't make any logical sense. It's like, well, actually I'm doing this live webinar. Your podcast, you know, it's not really in my realm of things. Like, you know, maybe we might have the same audience, but we don't. But my gut's just saying, you don't know what this is going to lead to. Who knows who I'm going to meet on the other end of that podcast? Who knows who might listen to that podcast that might be like, oh, I really resonated with what she said. That might be where I get a new client from, right? So it just won't always make sense. And I do dive into this a lot more in my everyday teachings and working with me, but it's just being aware that, you know, logic is not the way when we're talking about manifestation. Things will show up very, very, very unexpectedly. And it's the small steps that you take that lead to the big quantum leaps, right? The big changes in your reality. So another example of following inspired action for another manifestation. This is me here at Lake Louise. This just past gone summer. So summer 2021. It's been on my list since 2018 when I first went to Lake Louise in the middle of winter. So it was completely frozen over. What you see here, you can check it out on my Instagram. I actually have my photos of Lake Louise now and then. And I went in 2018. It was completely frozen over. I was freezing. I'm like in my big snow coat with my fur on, and my fox fur, by the way. And then when I was there and I could see just how magical and imagine how magical it could be in the summertime, my intention was very clear. I'm coming back here in the summer. Now, that was 2018. I didn't get back to Lake Louise in the summer until 2021, because another thing, the universe knows no time. The universe will deliver that manifestation to you when you are ready for it in the most unexpected way. And how that trip came up for me is that it was a discussion amongst friends over a few drinks, I must admit. And we had decided that we were going to go to Calgary Stampede and we were going to stop in at Lake Louise on the way. And that's what we did. And when I got there, that's me just looking at and reflecting on when I was there in 2018, standing on the snow, not sitting. I would have frozen my butt off, quite literally, standing on the snow and reflecting, oh, here's what it's like to receive your desires, right? And I just expressed immense gratitude in that moment. And I still remember it. That's exactly what I'm doing there, looking out to the mountains, expressing that gratitude, because that's how it showed up. So after that, after you follow all of those phases, and I hope it's not too overwhelming, and I hope I'm not talking too fast, I'm just trying to be mindful of everyone's time here, is that you need to remain open to receiving, okay? So at that point, you open your heart, you open your mind, you stay open to receiving, and this beautiful quote here, you trust the wait, you embrace the uncertainty, and you enjoy the beauty of becoming. Now, each time I do one of these, I do like to leave you with a little bit of grow work. So it's not homework, it's just for your growth. So if it resonates with you and you'd like to take this further, start implementing, take the inspired action and start moving forwards today. So my question to you is, what is one action step you can take towards your desire right now? As I said, the future is exciting. Your desires are your desires. They're different to mine. And who am I to say you can't desire that, however big or small it is? Okay, you can have whatever you want. The universe is abundant and it's infinitely abundant. So you need to get clear on what that desire is and what can you do right now to take one action step towards it. Okay, update that resume. Have you been putting it off? Are you looking for that new job, that new promotion, that new position that makes you hungry again, that lights you up? Update the resume. Stop putting it off. Make that phone call. Is there someone that you do need to apologize to? Is there someone that you do need to reconnect with and be like, hey friend, I miss you, or, let's move on, or whatever it might be. Make that phone call. This could also be about a job opportunity, or someone suggested that you network with someone and you were like, yeah, I'll get around to messaging them or connecting with them or calling them. Do it now. Don't put it off. Just do it now, right? Take the leap of faith. Switch off that distraction. If you were resonating with me when I was talking about consumption, if you know that having your Instagram and your Facebook notifications on distracts you, it distracts me. So I turn them off. That way, I'm more strategic when I go in and I look, and then I have time to reply to comments instead of being like, oh, just got another like, just got another like, just got another like. And then I can't focus on what I'm doing at that time, right? So switch off that distraction. Do it now. Turn your phone on Do Not Disturb for the next 2 hours. Get to the work. Get clear on your desires. If you're watching this today, it is the 222 portal. 6 2s today. That's a lot of 2s. That's a lot of magic around. So today is a day for clarity. It's about for getting clear, right? So switch off that distraction. Turn your phone on Do Not Disturb and get to doing the work. Maybe you need to start again, whatever it is. Maybe your fitness regime fell by the wayside because it's now almost the end of February, and January 1st, we said we were going to be this fit and healthy model like person, and it's now end of February and you're like, not much has changed. So am I going to just sit in this lack and this scarcity and think that I'm never going to be that fit, healthy person again? Or am I just going to say, you know what? Past is the past. I start again today. I go for my walk and I start going back to the gym tomorrow, or even better, I go to the gym tonight, right? You can start again at any time. The only thing that's stopping you is your own mind. And finally, I just want to leave you with this. You've got this, and I believe in you. If you've watched this, this was a message for you. And I'm here believing in you, and I'm sending you all of the positive energy that I can. And sometimes we just need to be told that I believe in you. And there is someone out there that believes in you. And that's the benefit of working with a coach, right? Because maybe you do need someone to believe in you and to hold your hand throughout the process. So just quickly, for those that need to jump off, thank you for joining us. But if you would like to just hear me out for the next couple of minutes, you can dive in a little bit deeper with me. The transformation begins here. So my unique method of working with you is, first of all, it's unique. So we're going to use your unique design. I'm going to run your human design chart so that you can achieve your goals. And I'm going to talk you through what that means. And I'm going to explain to you how you can show up better in your personal life, your professional life, your relationships, so that you can uniquely live by your design. So that's one of my tools that I use in my training and my teaching. The second one, whoops, I went too far there, is purpose. We're going to tap into your why. Find how to get you comfortable in the uncomfortable, right? If we don't know why, if we don't know specifically what we want and why we want it and why we're doing it, then are we really going to be that successful? You need to have a purpose in anything that you do. And that's the second step that's really important. Right?